Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today I'm going to be checking out some tracks from an act named Herman Martinez from their album Secret Doors, Hidden Stairs. And if we switch over to here, I have reviewed music from Herman Martinez before, and I've genuinely enjoyed my time with it. It's great to be checking out more of their work, and we're going to be listening through some tracks from the 2017 album Secret Doors, as I mentioned, Hidden Stairs, season premiere through to John Travolta's theme, and we're going to listen through these tracks from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. And go. Okay, season premiere. Interesting panning on the right side, very dramatic, intense. Got sort of a mystical kind of psychedelic kind of vibe to it though at the same time. I'm glad that it's coming on that left side though. Kind of a tribal tone to the bass and drums in it. Is there a drum kit? Is there a bass guitar in there? There is, yeah. Nice and rounded in that low end. Because different concepts and ideas moving forward. But they're intertwining. So let's do a little bit more of that snare drum there, a little bit of mid-resonance and that percussion. I like the tone of Herman's voice. It's so soft and soothing. You know, I wouldn't mind a bit of vocal fry from time to time, but it suits the kind of magical tonality of a lot of those guitar parts on the sides. You know, we know we're going on a journey. We're not quite sure where, but at least we can trust Herman to take us there safely. Is that a little bit of a spicy chromatic note there? I like the backing vocals as a sub-layer. Some of those guitar parts detuned. I don't like that bum bum bum. I don't like that, not because I think it's necessarily a bad choice for the note, but it does sound uncomfortable when it's placed in the rest of the context to the overall harmony. Similar rhythmic groove though throughout the entirety of it. I'm not upset about that being repeated. Nice little bit of legato there, nice vibrato, dude. Season premiere, close your eyes, no surprise, I find my home in you. So is it is the other person imagining what their life could be through your journey? Are they using their imagination to find a space of comfort within you? Is that it? Is this some sort of contentment? Is this Herman trying to sort of open himself up a little bit more and let other people in? I like the way that it's been produced. I can tell there's a little bit of compression going on because the way those tom fills, you know, like I'm not sure whether that was just dynamic range or things are a little bit powerful going in before that. I might have been playing around with the you can never press pause on Music B because it'll always get rid of it, which is very sad. Incredibly pretty guitar melodies though. These different parts sound like the starry sky. Lots of cute little arpeggios going on, harmonizing in thirds and other extensions. This is a situation where having two different guitar solos can be great. Or even like a lead motif with another little bit of a development on the side. It's very busy, harmonically, like, or instrumentally. Again, the percussion remains consistent. If they changed up the drum fills or the drum grooves too much and they put like different sort of flows with the nose with like the cymbal parts or anything like that, I think it just would have been a bit too much, but I think they've known to keep boom, dun, boom, boom, boom. They've known to keep that steady because that allows us to appreciate the rest of what's going on. And if you don't have the vocals there, you can sort of play around with the guitar parts and there's still a sense of balance there. I'm liking the piano that's just snuck in there. I'm not sure how long the piano has been with us, but if that's been automated to the volume increases over time, that's very, very clever. It's very, very clever. Is that going to be a consistent thing coming in? I wouldn't mind the piano sticking around. I don't think that having full-blown sort of left-right hand chords would have suited this. I'm glad there's a little bit of lightness in that right hand on the piano, on the keys. So this end is more like it's sort of a jam session after the person's closed their eyes and is trying to imagine what will come next. Well, we've got track number 2, a Murther next. E Murther. Oh, some really classy little jazzy harmonies going on here. Are they modulations? No, they're not. So would you call this prog rock? It is kind of proggy, isn't it? I do like the way that this has been recorded. I like the way we phrase those double-tracked vocals as well in the center there. You know, a little bit of change, a little bit of excitement, but it's still so soft and palatable at the same time. I think it's a really gentle lead line there that sort of supports the tone and the approach and the style of the vocals there. There's a gentle sort of swing to the drums there propelling us forward, but it's not forced. I like that little break there. Did you hear that little break with the bass guitar coming in and filling in the void? It's a great way to sort of shake up the listener and go, wait, whoa, hang on there. Why do we have the biddle-a-dum kind of loop feedback going on, you know? Whereas if you have a similar drum groove without any lead elements, it can sort of like get the listener sort of stuck in there kind of in a trance, you know? It's about playing with expectations. So is this following on from season premiere where they close their eyes and imagine going on that journey with them, and now they're actually going into that fable? Is that the continuation chronologically and thematically? They're convinced that we will be part, you know, like it's almost as if we're trying to sort of believe that that fable is actually real, you know, like we're trying to figure out what is reality and what is not. Oh, there's a bit of a mid-resonance in that lead guitar. Kind of fuzzy guitars on the left and right. I don't necessarily mind it. Bit sassy. Similar melodic representation of what we might have had previously with the vocal parts. Nice voicing there, reinforces that. To your light, blowing pheromones, giving birth to the night. Son of sun, here to make it right. Womb of the world, blanket of skies, keeping you warm as you learn how to fly. Kissing the stars as the evening. I like the concept of, like, you know, flying through the air and you know, keeping you warm and everything like that as you learn how to fly. I dig it. It's really beautiful imagery in there. It's really pretty. And even though there's a little bit of dust and sort of like grit to the guitar tone here, it balances out well lyrically. Although this makes me kind of wonder whether everything is as it seems, or if there's a little bit more tension in there, you know? This is tremendously unusual. Some filtered kind of... Is that guitar? Like, what is going on there, my dudes and dudettes? We've got the piano coming at the end again. I'm not really sure I've heard anything like this in like the 1,000 or so reviews I've done. Having like the filter of the delay and return of that. Oh. I mean, we just had like the filtering of the accompaniment with like some piano parts on the left. It was sort of surreal, wasn't it? Was that us getting wrapped up in all of it and being overwhelmed by it? And up an octave for that lead. Nice choice. There was a bit of pumping in that master. I could tell we were pushing those volume levels quite a bit, but I'm not unhappy about it, you know. You can tell there's attention paid to the dynamic range and perceived loudness of parts. We do have shifts there. That bass does sound quite a bit louder than the guitar, though. In my personal opinion, that could be a deliberate decision by Herman Martinez. Finishing on like a sus chord or something like that without wanting to deliberately resolve to like a major or a minor there. I dig that. It is kind of unclear where we're at that point in time with the story. But we've got Magic Squares next, track number 5. Obviously, this album was released in 2017, so if you do like what you hear today, please do go check out his various sort of social medias, and we'll put links at the end. But yeah, in the description of this video as well. I love the guitar work. The instrumentalism is fantastic. I mean, that's not an easy guitar riff to play. There's like some hammer-ons and pull-offs, some sort of arpeggiated sort of busy work going on there. I saw that. Did we? We switch to a triplet groove then and change the tempo, or did we just remove an eighth note there? So we're still in the place where we can't really sort of tell what's going on or figure it out beyond what we're experiencing. And going back to that minor extension there, we're sad, but we're not totally committing to that. It's a bit of complexity of the situation. Great buzz rolls with those drums as well. More harmonies on the guitars. I just love how seamless the transitions are between different parts of the songs as well. We just leap into it with the head voice, and the guitar floats along and everything else sort of follows along to it. It's great. Really creative shift in the pace of it, you know? Having the drums go here like to like a normal time or like a double. It's definitely normal time, I think. And switching back to halftime like that. Just for that solo section. We could have had the clean guitar, but you know, we wanted more than that. More than just that. Oh, so we're going to get an A-B structure for the phrasing of it. And then it'll go... Yeah, it's easy to follow. Like I can tell we could shred if we wanted to, but it's more about the playing the right notes as opposed to playing a lot of them. See, I already thought we had the solo. Are we adding more solo to it? I mean, like, I'm still trying to figure out what this album is about as I go along. So basically, has Emerther led to magic squares? Remember the person we were having the dreams with and blanketing across the sky? Maybe we're trying to connect to whether they are in their own magic square. Maybe they've found a place that we want to head to, and it's about figuring out how to access it. We're trying to figure out even to word what that would be like. It's nice to end it softly. You know, having that fuzzy guitar in that last hook there kind of built it up and made it huge. Made it really big. And I'm thankful because if you hadn't had that, it might have just been a little bit too flat for my tastes personally. Even though we are paying careful attention to dynamic range and layering and taking stuff away really well. You know, just a bit more for the final one, you know? When you come down to this sort of lone guitar by itself fading out, it makes it all the more powerful when you do that, you know, the big finish and drop off. But that was Magic Squares, Apartment 10, track number 4 for today. Heavy sort of steel string guitar. No intro recorded, sorry, I thought... So is Apartment 10 like the Magic Square or something like that we get access to that in the end? I like how conversational the guitar is alongside the vocals, you know, peppering in little melodies and concepts there just to sort of fill in the gap, but also to enhance what's being sung. Plenty of space for in the mix. Nice reverb tail to the China there as well, the China cymbal. Interesting, sort of unorthodox parallel majors or minors. Really gorgeous chorus effect here with these harmonies. And we never let it sit for too long. We're always like, okay, that's enough of that. We don't want to get too used to it, so pull away. Did he talk about like something about gods and not being enlightened or something like that? So did he try? Was he searching for something? An Apartment 10, or was it the place he was looking for and couldn't find it? It's interesting. Like, I listen to this, but I find that if I focus too much on Herman's vocals, I start getting sucked into the song, and all the rest of the stuff goes to the side just because my brain's trying to process everything at once. That doesn't mean it's busy necessarily. Yeah, great track though, fantastic. It's tricky. I do enjoy listening to the singing, but I also enjoy listening to the instrumentation and the performance behind that. And things are so tightly sort of glued together in this track, you know, a really fine line, especially with some of that sub resonance there. It's good though. It's good though. That was apartment 10 anyways. We got the Gardener next, which is 8 on the album, but the 5th for us today. Again, loving this triplet sort of swingish kind of groove we got going on here with the guitar arpeggios and the drums and the bass following along with the whole notes and the vocals holding those as well to contrast directly. I'm not sure if I'm getting all the words clearly. I'm listening to it. I'm hearing it. Some of the words are coming through clearly, some of them are not. Nice definition to those guitar parts though. Like how they panned on the left, and I can understand what we're trying to do with panning those vocals on the far sides. Again, a direct contrast to them being in the center. Oh, so is she like the gardener who takes care of the dreams and she like helps him go through there, and maybe season premiere in Emertha was her figuring out her own dreams and being able to access to sort of be aware of them. Is that it? Or do they share dreams? Really dope bass line by that. You know, it's great stuff. It's really creative. You know, like you don't have to go that hard. A lot of people I know who play bass go, don't. They just roll the root notes. But we're getting some little concepts there that sit really well and amongst everything else, and they helped it to stand out. I've always wondered who does the drums. Does like Herman Martinez do everything? I'm not sure if I've established whether Herman does everything or not. Because if we're doing all of these different instruments, that's very impressive. That is some intricate percussive work there with these little fills and stuff like that. We're not hitting all of them the same. It doesn't sound like we're having to rush those fills either. We're clearly quick with the sticks. That was a sick tap fill there, eh? Oh, I thought we were going to have more tappies there. This is really like we're going through a dreamscape though, isn't it? It's atmospheric and noisy and mildly unsettling, but also I can't help. It's just like the chord progression doesn't necessarily suggest that anything particularly hugely positive is occurring. That's fantastic. Yeah, great time. Great time with that. I mean, like, honestly, it finished really sweetly. Although, again, it did add that sadness to the overall harmony. I just don't know if we're going to find resolution in John Travolta's theme there, you know? It doesn't. It sounds like we're in awe and wonderment at the world we've got constructed for ourselves internally through our third eye, or through our mind's eye, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know, man. We're going to have to listen through John Travolta's theme. Wonderful musicianship, though, especially with those tap sections and that sort of drum fill part in the latter half. Got some sort of like Eastern sort of Arabic harmonies coming in here, you know. Is this a follow-on? It is a follow-on directly from The Gardener. What is John Travolta? Oh, it's kind of upbeat and peppy a little bit. Or mysterious and ambiguous. And clearly we can play the keys. Got some counter melodies going on there. There's a fizz to that bass that I like. It's got a bit of a stank in it, man. Nice focus on those floor toms as well there. I just came in and it just asserted its dominance over the rest of the mix, basically. I'm actually really satisfied with that stutter tone. Very, very grungy. Very grungy, like early 90s kind of vibe. Liking the sound of the room as well, actually. You know, it sounds like everything was recorded live together. So chaotic and frenetic. It's chaos, the design of chaos. I do love the tremolo work, to be fair. Kind of makes me wonder the Gardener was taking a good... I wonder why we're having 3 different conversations at the same time with the different lead voices. Oh. Kind of resolves itself. It doesn't resolve itself, but it kind of chills out a little bit. That's nice to have after that. And that's the end of it. The thing's just climax there, and we... Did things just climax there and we just had it kind of take a step back and realize, oh, nope, things are fine now? And that fade out, is that the final memory of it? Did things just start and then they ended? Is that it? Is that how it worked? Because that's kind of wild if that was the case. Good stuff though, good fun. Good fun. Because this is effectively my conclusion to this review of Herman Martinez's Secret Doors, Hidden Stairs. What do I think about this album? What do I think it's about? I think this album was about Herman sort of exploring like maybe the dreamland or something like that, people's dreams and fantasies and thoughts in the worlds that they can create. I think it also sort of revolves around him sort of navigating someone else's sort of head, their mental state, going in between people's sort of like psyches and stuff like that and trying to understand them better. Or maybe trying to find the place that he couldn't get to. I mean, Apartment 10 was looking for something that maybe he wasn't able to absorb. It's weird, man. It's weird. I don't know specifically how deep the rabbit hole goes with this. I know there's more depth to it than I'm describing, but I think John Travolta's theme is maybe like an alternative universe, or maybe that's the theme of like, is it based on John Travolta or something like that? I'm not sure, man. I think I'm overthinking it. There is some basically dreams and fantasies and interpersonal relationships and trying to sort of navigate a world, someone else's world with them. That's basically my interpretation of this album. Not only do we have a fantastic sort of intriguing sort of theme overall for the album, at least what I could pick out of it, we also have a singer who can really actually sing quite well. I did like the hidden chest voice there. We hit most of those notes incredibly well. Lots of little bits of legato and vibrato there, fantastic vocal harmonies. This isn't me like a critique necessarily. I don't think I got all the words clearly, and I think that was just some parts of it, simply because I was distracted by other bits. There were some parts where I was really listening intently and I couldn't quite catch everything out. That can be partly because of the phrasing and the rhythm that we do it. If we split, if we're going to split, and this isn't a criticism. This is something that I don't think we should have done it differently. This is just a stylistic thing where we kind of had a syllable per note and we kind of stretched them out over passages. And I know that it's a nice way to contrast against some of the more energetic sort of or busy guitar and bass parts or drum parts and everything like that. I just feel like I was missing some context there. And it's just worth noting for transparency's sake. I think that we sang appropriately to the subject matter. We really built ourselves up and had a bit more chest voice and the oomph in some of those louder hook sessions, especially when the chorus came in and we needed those distorted guitars and stuff like that. But we were also really gentle when we had the cleans and the pianos and stuff like that. You know, we knew how to balance it out tonally and make it really interesting and made sense when you were listening to it. And each of the song themes, again, it had that sort of trippy kind of post-rock, kind of prog, kind of psychedelic vibe to it with lots of delay and reverb and sort of fun guitar effects and tremolo distortions and really cool sort of 8th and 16th drum grooves with some occasional sort of triplets sort of vibes in it as well, you know. We had a bass line there which was thoroughly energetic throughout when it did appear there, but the guitar was obviously the focal point alongside the vocals, you know. The guitar work was incredible. It was so intricate, and I loved the little hammer-ons and pull-ons that we had. You know, I loved when we did the lead sections, especially with the last couple of tracks when, you know, like the little like squealy widdly bits. I think they were great. Clearly we know how to play the strings, but the cohesion and chemistry of the various instruments within the mix overall of the track were fantastic. I think it shared a similar tonality overall color-wise with like the harmonies and stuff like that. You didn't necessarily commit to traditional major and minor triads here. You had extensions and sus chords and little bits of tension there and maybe some parallel majors and minors, and we experimented with semitones and chromatics and key changes and stuff like that. And it was fun. We clearly have someone who understands not only sort of like traditional, like the jazz stuff as well. They understand more sort of like intensive, kind of more sort of traditional compositional methods. And I think that pays off really well here. It's shown their ability to twist and craft a song in a way that keeps the vocals going even without needing to necessarily do much more with the performance itself. It's about the journey you go on with the melodies and chords, progressions, and the bass line, which was, again, the bass line didn't just follow the root notes all the time. You had little motifs that modulated or sort of spread about the fretboard, and it was great. It wasn't just that, though. It was like the way things were spread around the stereo field, you know, lots of lovely double tracking those guitars and everything like that. Things were pan left and right and stuff like that, you know, bit of automation in there, bit of filtering as well, kind of. And there's a lot to appreciate and respect here. I know I sound like I'm being very nice, and that's because I'm genuinely really happy with this. You know, I don't really have any massive complaints about any of the like the singing, the story, the themes involved there. I think that they made sense for the subject matter, sort of dreamlike and melodic and sort of mystical and atmospheric and sort of, you know, ethereal. It was cool. And each of these tracks, you know, they had tracks from like 252 to 550, nearly 6 minutes. I think that it's testament to the skill of the composition here that I didn't become disinterested, especially in those longer tracks. It's not that I'm phobic to longer songs, but if you're going to have a near 6 minute track, it needs to be entertaining the whole way through. You cannot rely on filler. It needs to be, especially if it's your album opener. I think that we nailed it with Season Premiere. And although I don't necessarily understand the importance or the concept of John Travolta's theme in the grand scheme of things, I think maybe it might be an inside joke or something like that, or simply this is just an album that Herman wanted to write and I shouldn't really be telling him what to put where. You know, it's fine. There's probably some nuance I missed there, but that's okay. The production, recording, mixing, mastering was good. I have heard some of Herman's later works, if I'm not mistaken. Some of that was a little bit cleaner from a studio production perspective. I don't think it was recorded poorly at all. I could hear the different instruments well. They were panned well in the stereo field, and I liked the way the vocals sounded. You know, they had nice EQing and filtering to them. They stood well in the mix. They had a great presence, and the backing vocals as well, the sidechain vocals were done well too. And, you know, it's not like there wasn't any errors with like the use of the effects, like the reverb and delay and the filtering and stuff like that, and there was ornamentation and like the really kind of crazy sort of like stuff that was going on with those wahs on the side and everything there. I can tell there was a lot of work put in the studio production. There were some resonances at some point, I think maybe with the bass guitar, where there were some resonances and low mids, and I think they kind of swallowed up some other parts of the mix, and that might have been the same with some of the tom fills and stuff like that. I think there might have been some low mid resonances there, and when you've got that compression limiter on there and you're trying to get it nice and loud without pumping, unfortunately, if you don't quite have those low mids. And again, it was a pretty good effort. I'm not saying that it's like bad or anything like that. It's just me being really anal and pedantic about it. I'm wondering if there could have been some more notch EQing we could have done with those low mids on like the bass guitar and the tom fills, just to get, but then of course we might want that bombastic sort of fuller, kind of rougher, raw sound to it. In which case, that's absolutely fine. It could also come down to room sound. For all I know, everything was recorded in the same room, and the guitarist could have been carrying that or something like that, you know. But it's all about the tone you want from an album as well. Sometimes people don't want it to be sterilized at all. They want it to be sort of a noisy album. They want it to be sort of a raucous, raw, sort of really live sound to it. And I think we got that here, you know. I don't think anything felt polished or sterile, and I'm glad that is the case because it wouldn't have suited it. So in a sense, that's why I'm not necessarily upset about the resonant frequencies or anything like that. Not that there's not any point in me getting upset about it, but you know what I mean. Overall, I mean, like, again, it was nice and loud. There was a bit of pumping there occasionally when some of those build parts. I could hear that limiter coming down on it, but that's okay. That's okay. Again, most of the power of this record came from the musicianship and the combination of that with the lovely vocals and the fact that it did sound like a live performance, and it was really sort of organic and it was dope. And that's effectively, you know, I'm really happy to have heard more of Herman Martinez's work as a final note. I remain satisfied with the work that he's done. And I look forward to hearing more from him in the future. But thank you very much for watching my review of these tracks from Secret Doors, Hidden Stairs, which is an album from Herman Martinez. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Zach some love via their various social medias. And I'm sure this is on like major digital streaming platforms and stuff like that. And stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.